The UK economy is in a place we haven't seen in decades. Wages falling behind inflation, taxes at a 70-year high, businesses leaving, billionaires fleeing the country faster than anywhere except China. And now, apparently, the UK secretly owns 61,000 bitcoins, and even the former Prime Minister wasn't told. This isn't a conspiracy. It's not speculation. This video is a summary of a real, recorded conversation with Liz Truss inside a room full of entrepreneurs. This info will help you to understand Britain's economic decline and why a decentralised alternative like Bitcoin may be the only way out. Chapter 1, the tweet that started everything. Back in January 2018, before Bitcoin was mainstream, before ETFs, before adoption curves, Liz Truss tweeted, "We should welcome cryptocurrencies in a way that doesn't constrain their potential. Liberate free enterprise, remove regulation that restricts prosperity." I don't know about you, but I'm a fan of Liz Truss. That tweet blew up inside the government. According to Truss, she was Chief Secretary to the Treasury at the time, second in command behind the Chancellor. When she walked into the Treasury, she expected innovation, opportunity, optimism. Instead, she found fear of change, fear of new technology, and above all, fear of upsetting the Bank of England. She describes the Treasury as a culture of controlled thinking, where officials default to caution, bureaucracy, and rules rather than innovation. Her tweet wasn't just a statement, it was a direct challenge to the Treasury's internal orthodoxy. And it caused internal anger, pressure from the Chancellor, and backlash from civil servants. This matters because it shows the real divide. Politicians may come and go, but the Treasury and Bank of England operate with completely different incentives. Crypto, especially Bitcoin, represents freedom, decentralisation, and individual monetary power. That is precisely why the establishment hated her tweet. It wasn't about Bitcoin, it was about control. I think that the UK should be buying Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation, in my opinion. What about you? Are you a fan of Bitcoin or not? Chapter 2, Britain is now poorer than Mississippi. Liz Truss dropped an economic bombshell. That is shocking. We're now poorer than Mississippi, the poorest state in the US. Let's put that into context. In the year 2000, the UK and the US had almost identical GDP per capita. We were peers, two advanced Western economies with strong productivity and innovation. Today, the US is 50% richer per person. That's not a small gap, that's a collapse. She points to the three core problems. One, energy is 4 times more expensive in the UK. That means businesses can't compete. Manufacturers leave the country. Households get squeezed. This one factor alone crushes economic growth. 2, the Bank of England's disastrous monetary policy. Truss argues that money printing, interest rate mismanagement, and inflationary policy have inflated asset prices, crushed savers, discouraged investment, and made the cost of living explode. This is what really frustrates me, because the cost of living is just getting worse here in the UK. 3, government has doubled in size. In 2000, the state was 1/3 of the economy. Today, it's almost half. When the state grows, productivity falls, taxes rise, regulation increases, private enterprise gets suffocated. This combination is why British people feel poorer, because they are. And this economic environment is exactly why Bitcoin is attracting interest, even inside political circles. If you'd like to be fully updated, by the way, with the UK economy, hit subscribe and I'll do my best to help you with my 24 years experience as an investor. Chapter 3, the UK secretly holds 61,000 Bitcoins. During the interview, the presenter reveals that the UK government holds 61,000 stolen or seized Bitcoins, mostly from criminal cases. And Truss's reaction is mind-blowing. I didn't know that, and I bet the Chancellor doesn't know it either. Think about what that means. The UK has a Bitcoin stockpile worth billions, and the elected leaders, the ones supposedly in charge, weren't told. Why not? Because in the UK system, permanent civil servants, Metropolitan Police, Treasury staff, the Bank of England, they are the ones who control the financial machine and information flow. Politicians are often not briefed unless they specifically ask. Imagine not knowing your country owns billions in the fastest growing asset in the world. This is why Truss says the UK system is broken. Information is power, and that power does not sit with elected officials. This is exactly the opposite of Bitcoin's transparency, where transactions are on-chain, reserves are public, supply is fixed, no single authority decides what you get to know. The UK's hidden Bitcoin stash is the perfect example of why decentralisation matters. As you can probably guess, I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't me giving out financial advice. I'm not an expert, not even close, but I'm sick of seeing people I care about struggling financially, and my intention is to help as many people as possible with my experience. Chapter 4, Who Actually Runs Britain? Truss reveals something that most people don't understand. The Governor of the Bank of England is probably more powerful than the Prime Minister. Why? Because the Governor has an 8-year term. He cannot be fired except for gross misconduct. He controls monetary policy. He influences the media. He influences markets. He influences the Treasury. Meanwhile, a Prime Minister can be removed overnight. She explains that Treasury officials, Bank of England staff, OBR analysts, civil service leaders all act together as a single ecosystem that resists change and protects its own power. When Truss attempted to push through her mini-budget, the Bank of England suddenly announced a major gilt sale the night before. The OBR leaked catastrophic forecasts. The media repeated the narrative. International institutions piled in. Whether you agree with their budget or not, the key point is this. Elected leaders do not control the system. The system controls them. This is why Bitcoin exists. It removes monetary power from centralised institutions and hands it back to the people. Chapter 5, Why the UK establishment fears Bitcoin. Truss explains the core reason Bitcoin is seen as a threat. Bitcoin takes power out of the hands of the bureaucracy and puts it into the hands of the people. This is the exact opposite of what UK institutions want. Bitcoin equals freedom, decentralisation, individual control. CBDCs equals surveillance, control, programmable money. And what are the Bank of England and Treasury pushing? CBDCs. A digital pound would allow real-time tracking of transactions, restrictions of purchases, expiration of money, automatic application of taxes, monitoring of spending categories. Imagine you've exceeded your carbon budget. You've bought too much red meat this month. You've drank too much alcohol. Your transaction is flagged for review. Bitcoin prevents all of this. This is the philosophical divide. Bitcoin empowers the individual, CBDCs empower the state. This is why the establishment is hostile to Bitcoin. Chapter 6, Could the UK adopt a pro-Bitcoin strategy? There are 4 proposals floating around political circles. 1, a UK Bitcoin strategic reserve. 2, a low capital gains tax on Bitcoin. 3, robust Bitcoin/crypto education for policymakers. 4, positioning the UK as a global Bitcoin hub. But Truss says none of this is possible under the current structure. Her words, unless the system changes, the FCA, the Treasury, the Bank of England, none of this will happen. The problem isn't political will, it's the architecture of power. The governor appointed in 2028 will remain until 2036. Even if a pro-Bitcoin government wins in 2029, that means a pro-Bitcoin Prime Minister would still be blocked at every turn. If the UK wants meaningful change, Truss says the Bank of England must be repealed. The Civil Service Code must be reformed. The OBR must be redesigned or abolished. The FCA must be rebuilt. Only then could Britain even consider a Bitcoin strategy. Chapter 7, Is there hope? Yes, but not from politicians. Truss ends with something powerful. We need a movement of people who want real change. She names the groups who are waking up. Bitcoiners, entrepreneurs, farmers, free speech advocates, anti-surveillance campaigners, people concerned about migration. All these groups share the same experience. They see that the UK is not failing because of bad luck, it's failing because the system is designed for managed decline. Her message is clear. Governments will not fix this. Institutions will not fix this. The Bank of England will not fix this. People will. And Bitcoin is one of the tools that can help reshape the future because it operates outside the system. The financial system is broken, and when you fully understand this, you invest into assets. Simple as that, like Bitcoin. If you want to get around other investors, by the way, to try and make sense of what's actually going on with the UK economy and the global economy, you can join my school community. See below for the link. Summary. Here's the reality. The UK is becoming poorer. Taxes are increasing. Inflation is eroding savings. Institutions are growing more powerful. Surveillance is rising. Economic opportunity is shrinking. And yet, in the middle of all this, Bitcoin is offering a fixed supply, global portability, inflation resistance, freedom from political manipulation, control over your own savings. You don't have to wait for the system to change. You can opt out. You can learn. You can prepare. If you want to get more info on Bitcoin and how 0.1 Bitcoin can potentially help you retire early, see below for a recent video.